What's going on, people? Hope you're doing good. Welcome back to another video. So a couple of weeks ago I posted a poll on my Instagram asking people if they wanted me to make a video where I talk about some film ideas that I have come up with. And the majority of people said yes, they'd love that video. So here it is. This is the video you've all been waiting for. And it's a video that I'm really excited to do. I have come up with some great ideas. Well, ones that I personally think are pretty good ideas. But when I talk about them, honestly, critique them in the comments. Give me some thoughts, what you think could be improved. That's what I want anyway. I like criticism, so please go ahead and criticize. Now, I'm not going to go fully into depth. I'm not going to tell you every piece of dialogue or anything, because I haven't wrote scripts for them yet, apart from one, which we'll talk about very soon. I'm just going to tell you the general outline and what I'm trying to say with it. So there's quite a few. There's about 3 or 4. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So my first film idea is one that I think could really work. And it's a message that I like to send throughout stories that I write about mental health. So I've already come up with the title for this. It's called Think Out Loud. And the reason I've come up with a title already is because I've already written a short version of this story. Now, I do want to say that I don't like it as much as the second rewrite that I'm going to do later. The only reason why I've decided to finish this first draft as it is because when I come up with the new idea, I was like 90% done with this one, so I thought I might as well just get it done and end it the best I can. And a couple of people have read it, they said they really liked it, they get what I'm trying to go for. But I still do think that the second version that I have in my head of it is a lot better. So what is this about? So it's about this girl, about 20 years old, early 20s. She's going through it. She's struggling to live up to expectations. In a longer version of this story, her home life is pretty bad. She's from Mexico. She's had to move over to the UK because of her parents' work. She's struggling to fit into university. She hates her parents because she can't see her friends from Mexico anymore. You know, she's really struggling in life. And then when she falls asleep, she wakes up the next day to see the whole neighborhood and pretty much the whole world. Everyone has just disappeared apart from her. Her parents aren't home. Her siblings aren't home. There's still cars on the drive from every house. Everywhere she walks, even when she goes to university, the doors are locked, no one is there. But at night, a strange entity keeps tormenting her, and the only way she can fight back is to discover its weakness. So it's a pretty simple concept. You know, you've got wide open spaces, you're all alone, something's trying to kill you, you don't know exactly what it is, and that's what I'd like to keep. I don't want you to fully know what this entity is. It could be something there, and then it could be something else. The whole gimmick of it is that it can change into people that the character knows. And as I said, the entity keeps tormenting her. It uses her mental health and her difficulties in life against her to torment her, break her down. And I just think this is a great story to show the hardships of mental health. And the way she defeats this entity is mainly through bravery. I want the entity to be kind of a metaphor for stress, anxiety, but you've got to be brave and push through it. And the ending shot, I think, really says a lot about stress and anxiety. Should I spoil it? I'll say it. So the final shot, she's defeated the entity, her parents, her family, everyone is back, and she has a new way of life now. She's more grateful for it, she's speaking to people at uni, she respects her parents more, life's good. But I want the final shot to be panned out of her walking to her home, and you just see the entity staring at her. But it doesn't bother going for her. The reason is because she's brave now. But the whole point of that shot is that, as I said earlier, stress and anxiety is the entity. You're always going to have that with you. No matter how happy you are in life, those feelings will still be somewhere in your head. So in a way, the entity will always be with her, but it's up to her to see if it gets out or not. It's an idea that I've always been passionate about, and as I've said, I've written a short version of the script. As mentioned earlier, it's not my best version, But because I'm nice, I'm going to leave it in the description if you'd like to read it. And then maybe when I do the second draft, I'll upload that in the description as well. One thing I forgot to mention at the start of the video is that I'm going to say who I'd cast in the main role of these movies. And for some reason, I've always thought that Isabella Merced would be a great choice for the character of Daniela. That's her name, by the way, Daniela. And the reason I think that is because of her performance in Alien Romulus. Not the biggest fan of that film, but she killed it in that role. She was easily one of the best parts about that film. And I just think she'd be perfect for the role. She could hit all the different emotions of the character of Daniela. Frightened, scared, but brave at the end as well. I think she'd be the perfect choice for that role. So yeah, that's story number 1, Think Out Loud. It's one that I'm quite proud of, I'd say. As I said, I'll leave the link to script 1 in the description. Let's get on to story 2. So this story I have no title for, but it's one that I've come up with just recently. And again, it's another movie and story with themes about mental health. So this follows a man who, about my age, who has ASD. And if you don't know what that is, it's autism spectrum disorder. And basically he can't talk to people. He struggles with his parents. His parents are very neglectful. He's struggling to fit in. He can't communicate. And he tries so hard to make friends with people, but he just doesn't succeed. Until a girl around his age as well starts to become friendly around him, and they gain a connection. And then she invites him to her family house, they have dinner with the family, and he starts to see a family in her family instead now. But little does our protagonist know that this family has a dark and sinister secret, and they are trying to use this person to commit heinous acts. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is another story about mental health. And one of my biggest inspirations for this film idea is the movie Speak No Evil. Now, if you've never seen this movie, you'll probably know there's a remake with James McAvoy coming out in a couple of weeks. It's a Dutch film where it's about this family who meets another family who seems very friendly. But over time, they start to discover that this family is not as nice as they think they are. And what I really like about that movie is that it's very slow burn. And there's just small interactions where you think, it's nothing. But if you truly think about it, you can tell that this family is breaking down the other one so well, to the point where they just become defenseless. And that's what I kind of want to tackle in my movie idea as well. The girl kind of seduces this boy who is suffering from neglect. He doesn't know what he wants to be in life. He's struggling to know where to go. And he thinks that this family now cares for him. He finally finds love. But what he doesn't know is that, again, this family kills people for no reason at all. And they're going to use him to kill his family. They start to break him down and get into his mind and say, well, why would you want this family alive? They don't care about you. They deserve to die. And what I want to show in this movie is that how, just like Speak No Evil as well, how easy it is to manipulate someone. Especially with someone who's suffering with neglect, doesn't know where he wants to go in life. Those types of people, most of the times, can easily be deceived by one little act of kindness. And I want it to have a really dark ending, not like Think Out Loud, where, yeah, it's a sad ending that this entity's still there, but you know she's still remaining strong, so it can't get her. This one, just like the film Speak No Evil, I want it to be a very disturbing ending. And an actor that I think could really pull off our protagonist is Noah Schnapp, who plays Will in Stranger Things. Mainly because of Stranger Things, I think he can pull off this role. And yeah, I know he's not the most loved actor because of things, but if we look at him as an actor, I think that he can just play a more quieter version of Will from Stranger Things, especially first couple of seasons of Will. I think he can bring that to the character, and it would fit so well. Very vulnerable, always a bit confused and not knowing what's truly going on. I just think, really, he could pull that off perfectly. So yeah, that's my second story. I hope you all like that one. Let's get on to the third story. So my third idea is probably the simplest of the three, but it's one that I think in the right way it could work. And I've taken a lot of inspiration from many action movies. This is an action movie, by the way, especially one of my favourite franchises, John Wick. So the story follows this former assassin where he meets a woman on a job and they fall in love, they get married. But over time, their relationship becomes a lot more disconnected. They're always having arguments. It's not abusive, but his wife is, well, she is abusive. She keeps, destroying things, keeps having arguments with him, threatening him to, take away his money and stuff like that. She's not a nice person at all. But one day, his wife gets taken away by the assassin group that he worked for. And so to get her back, he has to go through waves of enemies to get to her and free her. But one thing that needs to be kept throughout the entire movie with this guy is that he does not kill. He tries to kill someone at the start of the movie, but after he meets his wife and after she's taken away, he does not kill. He does punch people, he does stab them and shoot them, but only in less fatal places, so they don't attack him anymore. That's the one component of his character that needs to be remained. And at the end, you know how it goes. He kills the main bad guy and he sets his wife free. And what I want to do with this ending is kind of just show that, yeah, you may not fully love someone, but everyone deserves to be saved in some way. So by the end, his wife is freed, but she's still not fully grateful of him. And so the guy just leaves. and yeah, it might sound a bit funny, but reiterates that message that, yeah, you can still be a good man and still save people that you may not really like. Because even though she is a bit of an arsehole, she still is a human being with feelings, so she still deserves to be saved and not killed. And that's what I want to reiterate in this story. Just because you don't really like someone doesn't mean they deserve to die or be tortured or kidnapped or whatever. No one deserves to go through that. So that's the message I want to send with that action movie. And of course, I want the action to be great. Of course, John Wick style. You know, I'm a huge John Wick fan. I don't want to rip off that style, but kind of pay homage to it. Good choreography and everything. And the actor that I love to play this role, I mean, it's got to be Keanu Reeves, hasn't it? I mean, I know I'm probably saying this because I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan and a huge John Wick fan. But the action is in the style of John Wick. So why wouldn't you get John Wick himself to do the action himself? It just kind of makes sense. And the character is a little bit like him as well. He's quite silent, doesn't say a lot, but he truly cares about the thing that he's trying to fight for. He still has a lot of the traits of John Wick, but I still want the story to be unique enough to make it stand out. So yeah, that's the action movie that I've come up with. May not be the most amazing idea. As I said, do critique these stories. Let's get on to the final one. So I actually wrote a bit of this story for a uni assignment. We had to do a creative piece. I think it was 500 words. No, 2,000 words. I don't know where I got 500 from. So I wrote a bit of this story. And it's one that I've had for a few years now. And there is a way to do it, but I don't think I'm the right person to write this sort of story. So the story is, we have this man, about my age as well, who is really struggling with life. His mum has cancer. His dad left him. He's working a very cheap job. His mother's flat is about to be taken away. Life is just really bad right now. He really needs money. And one day on his way to work, he sees this criminal gang who steals money from many households, kills people. They are the worst of the worst people. But our protagonist decides to join this gang because, well, they make a lot of money and he really needs money. And over time we see him conflicted. The people of this gang keep urging him to steal money from this house and kill this person. And in the end we get to An ending which is very shocking and very sad, but it fits into the message about people being deceived. So at the end, his mother finds out what he's been doing with this gang. And because earlier in the movie, she told him to make a promise not to harm people, just keep doing what you're doing, we'll get over it. She can't live with it anymore. And it's a very sad ending, but it shows, what could happen if you go down this dark path. But I did also think of a sequel idea to it as well, his redemption to the top, but also the ending where he eventually fights the leader of this gang. He still keeps his promise of his mother where not to harm or kill people, still be yourself. Even though this guy is an absolute piece of crap who really has no remorse for anything, again, our protagonist does not want to be a killer. He still wants to keep to his mother's promise. And again, this movie is about deception, manipulation, and enticement of money, and how it can drive someone to do bad things in a way. And one thing that I think would be really good is give every single gang member their own personality. Maybe one's a little bit more shy and a bit like our protagonist. Maybe he could be his best mate of the gang. And then you get ones which are just really deplorable, or maybe they are conflicted still. Maybe one likes to use a lot of violence because, well, he likes it. I kind of just want to give everyone distinct personalities. And one actor that I've always had in mind for this role is probably Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddy in the Shazam movies. Great actor, he's great in those movies, he's one of the best parts of them. But I know he's in It, and I've not seen the It films, for obvious reasons, but from what I've seen with clips-wise of him, he really pulled off that performance. That idea is probably one I'm more proud of, and I think in the right context, if it's written well, it really could work. And you know what? Those are my 4 ideas for films that I've had for a little while now. And as I said, do critique them if you think there's another way they could be done. Do let me know. I'm always up for criticisms. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you feel comfortable sharing some of your film, show, book, whatever type of medium ideas you have, do let me know down in the comments. I'm always up for reading them. And if you want me to critique them, I'm always available to help. I will give you some advice if you'd like me to. But do be warned, I'm not a writer. I'm not a bestseller or anything like that. So if my ideas are bad, that's why. but I'm always up for helping the best I can. But yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to look out for more reviews on the channel. I've got one coming up soon, which I'm really excited to talk about. But yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. And see you later.